I have been to dozens, if not over 100 estate sales at this point, and I have gathered a few tips and tricks along the way. So today I just want to share those with you. There is a really fabulous little website on the internet called estatesales.net. This is primarily where I find my estate sales. It's very, very easy to use. You just type in your zip code, how far you'd like to drive, what type of sale you'd like to attend, and the algorithm will do the work for you. And from there, you can start perusing photos and trying to sniff out these sales. Once you've found a few sales in your area or the area that you're willing to drive, you're going to want to start clicking through all of the listings, looking at the title, the descriptions. A lot of them will try to really amp up the title or like amp up the product and say cannot be missed estate sale, hoarder house estate sale. And listen, when you see hoarder house, click the listing. If the photos look like they were taken with a 2008 flip phone, you might be finding gold in there. If the photos are crisp, high quality, maybe taken with like an insanely good digital camera, and the home looks very staged, I usually avoid those because I know they're going to be expensive. When you look at the listings and the photos are pretty janky, I know it's more or less going to be affordable and there's more stuff to look through and you're going to find more items. So I definitely prefer the janky listings over the prim and proper ones. If you're going through listing and you find a particular item in the photo that you really like, you can at times reach out to the company and ask beforehand what their asking price is. But I will say a lot of companies do not like to give out pricing before the sale. I'm not exactly sure why, but just keep that in mind. Not everybody will give you a price before the sale starts. I can't stress enough how important it is to dress appropriately for estate sales. I personally, I look busted when I go to estate sales, especially because they're very early in the morning. I'm not getting dressed. I'm not going to get all done up to go to an estate sale and look through junk. I'm not. Um, so how I do dress, I dress like I'm forklift certified. Okay, I'm wearing the Dickies overalls. I'm wearing my work boots, like work boots. I'm not talking fashion boots. I'm talking about like my Red Wing, like mock toe boots. Legs are covered. Okay. And again, I come from somewhere where it's 4 seasons. So I've been to estate sales where I'm not kidding. It's like, this house is old, very old, almost about to be demolished, and it's 100 plus degrees in the attic. I'm not wearing shorts regardless. My legs will be covered because you have no idea what's going to pop out at you when you go to these densely packed estate sales. So think you're going to go into dirty places. You're going to go into basements. You're going to go into attics. You might go into a shed. You know, just protect your skin from anything. Like I might do a short sleeve shirt in the summer, but my legs will always be covered. My toes will always be covered. Do not wear flip flops to an estate sale. I'm not kidding. Don't do it. You're gonna regret it. Another thing that you should keep in mind is a flashlight and measuring tape. Whether that's a fabric measuring tape if you're looking for clothing, or just like a standard measuring tape if you're looking for furniture. Keep your measurements on hand. Have a nice little flashlight. Keep some hand sanitizer on you, and that's pretty much it for items. Reusable bags are always a great thing to have. So let's say you come across a listing, you want to go to this sale, and there is a lamp, for example, that you're like, I need this lamp. And the sale starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do not show up there at 9 o'clock in the morning expecting to get this lamp, especially if you live in a very competitive area. Like if you live in New York City, if you live in LA, I'm sure like those estate sales are nuts. I live in the Hudson Valley. It is still very competitive. So if I know I really want something, I will be there early. I might even show up hours before. The earliest I have ever kind of like camped out in a estate sale is maybe 4 a.m. Sale started at 9 a.m. I got there at 4 a.m. I was sitting in the pitch black waiting for the sale to start, and I ended up being number one and it was the best estate sale for me at the time because I was selling antique clothing, and this house had nothing but antique clothing. So I walked away with a lot of stuff at a very good price. And it was all because I showed up early and not at the time that the listing says. Another thing about this is many estate sales will put out a sheet of paper. It's a notepad. It's nothing special, I promise. Just a notepad and a pen. You write down what number you are. So let's say you have 5 people ahead of you that got there and they're waiting. So now you are number 6. You're going to write number 6 and your name. If you're with a friend, you write their name as well. And you wait. And usually the estate sale companies will allow people inside of the house dependent on which number you are. If there are no numbers, sometimes maybe they have post-its with numbers on them. Just make sure before you wait in line, you check to see if there is a list or if there are post-its with numbers that you need to grab before you head to the back of the line, or you go back to your car to wait, because estate sales happen year round. I live in a four-season climate, so I'm not going to be sitting outside in freezing weather. I will go back to my car, but you have to make sure that your name is on a list, or you have a post-it, or you have some kind of evidence that you were there at the time that you arrived. So that way people do not cut the line and get ahead of you. A very easy way to know if there is a list or if there are post-its are to simply ask. If you're the first person there, sometimes they'll just have you start your own list. I used to keep a pen and a notepad in my car just in case I was the first person, and I can start that list and leave it at the front door. So that way everyone that shows up can fill out their info. You will likely never attend an estate sale that has pricing on each individual item in the house, especially if you're attending a hoarder house estate sale. Your best course of action is to shop around and make a pile. So every time you pick up a vase or something, don't say, "How much is this?" Shop around the house, make your pile, pick everything that you like, and then as a collective, you bring it to the estate sale host and you say, "How much do you want for this?" And then they'll probably start doing little individual prices. But don't waste your time or the estate sale host time trying to get individual prices for each item. Just pick up an item, walk around with it. Once you get to checkout, you find out you don't really want to pay that price, just put it back. But at least you know that it was on you that whole time, so that way you could buy it, or maybe you won't. You don't know until that moment comes. Another thing is, if you don't have reusable bags, or maybe you do have reusable bags and you've already filled them up to the max, take your bags or your items to the estate sale host desk. They usually have a desk area of some kind set up in the house. And you say, "Hey, I'm still looking around. Do you mind watching my stuff?" They're always happy to do that. I've never had an issue of a sale host saying no, they will not watch your stuff. And another thing that you can do is put your name on the bag so that way they know that it's yours. And nobody genuinely should not go through your items because they're in front of the host and they're usually, they're safeguarding your stuff. If you are deliberating on whether to take an item, especially if it's a really small item like a cup or a vase or I don't know, a tchotchke of some kind, do not pick it up and say, "All right, I like it, but I don't know." And you put it down and you walk away. Carry it with you, because I guarantee you there's someone who's watching you taking the item, looking at it, putting it down, and then they're waiting to swoop up and take that item the second you walk away. So even though I am not always buying everything I'm picking up, I pick it up and I carry it with me the entire time. So that way I have more time to think. I have more time to look at other items in the house and really start to uh, decide what am I really going to take and what was an adrenaline rush in that moment when those doors first opened. Just take your time. Think about these items. Don't impulse buy. I know it can be hard to not impulse buy when you're in a state sale, especially when the prices are very good. There have definitely been times where I see someone from across the room holding something that I really want, and I will very subtly follow them around the house to see if they put it down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you really will just watch someone walk to checkout with that item that you want, and it's heartbreaking. But a lot of times people do put stuff down. So if you see somebody with a cup, I keep using cup or vases because that's the quickest thing I can think of. But let's say there's someone holding a vase that you really like. Sneak around. Don't be 2 inches away from them. Give them some breathing room. But keep a little side eye. Do they put that down? Are they keeping it? And just very very casually follow them around to see if they put the item down. And when they do, it's go time. Go grab it. Another thing, very big thing about etiquette at estate sales is if you see, like, listen, if you're lucky, you got two hands, right? And you're looking through, maybe you had a pile of stuff and you're like, shoot, now I got to look through this closet of clothing. I got to look through all these dressers. I got to look all these cabinets. You have to put your pile down, right? The best course of action is if you see someone looking at your pile, just say, "Hey, sorry, that's my stuff." And I have never had a problem where someone's like, "Well, I want it." They are very respectful. It's usually older people shopping at estate sales anyway, and they'll say, "Okay, sorry, whatever." They move on. You should do the same. If you see somebody with a kind of like picked pile, ask them, "Hey, is this your stuff?" Sometimes it is, sometimes they're not. I mean, especially if you're going to a hoarder house, there's just piles of stuff everywhere. So, your best course of action, use your voice, ask questions. Do not just assume that everything is for the taking. The person that wants to buy it might be a few feet away just looking at something else. So, just ask if you see something that looks like this is someone's curated pile. Questions will go a long way. And you'll also avoid fights this way. Now, generally, my experience with estate sales is fine. However, you see this unit right behind me? I I'm not an angry person. I don't like to yell. I don't like to argue, really ever. However, when I really want something, the Leo placements will come out and I will get nasty. Truly. I went to this estate sale that I found. I saw this in the listing. It was a disgusting house. I saw this hiding in the background with like stuff piled around it. And I got to the estate sale. The second those doors open, I ran to it. There wasn't a price on it. Now, generally for furniture, they will put prices. Smaller things, no, but this didn't have a price. There was no prices on anything in the house. So I had my partner go try and find the guy who's running the sale to ask for the price while I stood in front of this unit kind of safeguarding it so that way nobody else thought that it was like for sale. I mean, it's for sale, but like it's mine. It's my temporary hold. I need to find out the price. So, in the time that I am waiting to find out this price, my fiance walks around the house, finds the guy, and the guy is speaking to another woman who is now walking towards this unit and says, "I want that." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, I want it too." And I was here first. And I did say it much more aggressively than what I'm saying right now. Emotions were high because I really wanted this is one of those dream pieces. And the girl goes, "Well, I don't care. I want it." And so instead of just fully arguing with this woman in front of this sale, everybody at this sale, sorry, I looked at the host and I said, "How much do you want for this?" Before I start arguing with this woman and find out that this thing is 3 grand. Because then I'm tossing my hat. It's not for me. It's not in the budget. The guy looks and he goes, $50. The claws really came out at this point. Okay. I look at this woman and I say, "You're not getting this. I was here first." And I said a few other things. And she eventually gave up and she said, "Okay, fine, you can have it." And I was like, "Yeah, I know I can have it. I was here first." And I was very mean. I've never been this mean in a estate sale before. And my partner watched the whole thing. My mom was also there. She watched the whole thing, and both of them were just jaw dropped because I don't talk to anybody like this. I'm just, again, I'm not a person that likes to fight or get loud or cause a scene in any way. So it was a big deal, but I did at the end of the day. I paid $60 actually for this thing because I was like, keep the change. I felt rich in that moment. So it was the only thing I left with at this sale. It took forever to break down because we didn't know what we were doing, but anyway. this is a forever piece for me. I'm very happy about it. And every time someone asks about it, I have to mention the story that yes, it can get very aggressive at estate sales. And the best way to avoid that is to just learn proper etiquette. If someone is clearly there before you and is very interested, like do not swoop in and try to take it out from under them. That's just not right. Um, the best thing you could do, find out pricing, maybe even talk with the person that's also interested, and you could just kind of find out who wants it more. And in that moment, I really wanted this more, and I wasn't going to leave without it. So I'm not necessarily the best person to ask about haggling. I don't really like to haggle. If I ask a price and you tell me a price and I feel that it's fair and I can afford it, I'll pay it. However, if there is an item that I really want and you're telling me of kind of, above what I'm willing to spend price, the best thing you can ask if you don't like to haggle is, can you do any better? And a simple question like that can usually knock the price down by like 10, 15, 20%. You never know, depending on how the person's feeling that day, what time of the day this you're in the sale. So if you're not comfortable with haggling, just like me, just say, can you do any better? And if their better price is still out of your range, then just no, it's not meant to be. Do not argue with the person because it's you're not going to win that way by arguing. Just be kind and polite. I swear that goes such a long way when you go to these sales. Another thing to note is that estate sales can run anywhere from like 1 to 3 days. If it's a really big sale, maybe they're doing like series and phases. And typically prices go down as the sale progresses. So day one, everything's full price. Maybe they'll be willing to haggle just a little bit. Day two, maybe things go 50% off. Day three, maybe things are 75% off. So if there was something that you really liked day one that you couldn't really afford, maybe come back the last day to see if it's still there. Or we can call them, say, hey, I'm from a ways away. Like, do you still have it? And how much is it? One thing you really have to learn with estate sales is if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. This one's the most important. And I know it's cheesy, but like, have fun. Estate sales aren't meant to be a bloodbath. They're meant for you to find something fun for a very affordable price. So at the end of the day, maybe you didn't get that item that you came there for, but maybe you ended up with something else. And you just got to take your wins as they come. Sometimes you're going to lose. I've lost plenty. Okay. I don't always leave estate sales with stuff. Sometimes I leave with too much that my car can't even hold it all. It's dependent on the day and your luck and how quick you are. So, those are my top tips for estate sales shopping. I am truly addicted to estate sales. And if you are too, let me know some items you found. Or if you've never been and you have additional questions, like DM me. I love talking about this stuff.